Hello everyone, welcome to Stories of Chazal. Being that it's Erev Shabbos, we are going to say a story which is pertaining to Shabbos. And the story, there's actually a few sources for this. It's partially in the Gemara, in the Talmud, the tractate Sanhedrin, Samach Hey Amud Beis. There's a few other sources that I'm going to collect from. Another source is in medrash tanchuma on Parshas Kisisa. It is, in my version, it's in Siman Lametes. It is also found, which I'll be using as well to just put together pieces of the story. It's also in the medrash aseret hadibrot. Now over there, it is under the dibur of Shabbos, right? Okay, so here we go with the story. So it says like this, the medrash tanchuma. It says that one of the officers, the generals of the Romans, his name was Turnus Rupus. That was his name. He was actually famous. He's mentioned in the Gemara Maseches Tainis. I believe it's Chav Tes Mud Beis or Mud Aleph, or maybe Chav Zayin. Don't remember exactly. It's the Bryce over there says that he was the one who destroyed the Heichel of the Beis HaMikdash, and the second Beis HaMikdash. So he was considered a very evil guy. So he was having this discussion in our medrash, in the story, with Rabbi Akiva. He confronted Rabbi Akiva and he tells him like this. He says, why is Shabbos that you guys, apparently he came across him on Shabbos, and he's telling him, why is Shabbos different than the rest of the days of the week? Why are you guys making it so unique? The question is, we'll see soon. It's not so clear exactly what his question was. Maybe we'll try to figure that out. So Rabbi Akiva responded to him, and why is a great man great? So in the medrash tanchuma, the discussion continues that Tanus is asking, I don't understand what you're saying. I asked you a question, and you didn't really respond to my question. So Rabbi Akiva says, no, I did. You asked me, why is Shabbos different than the rest of the week? And my response was, why is Turnus Rupus different than all other powerful men? Meaning all other people, humans. What makes you unique that you should be powerful, right? In this position. So he said, what do you mean? He said, the king of king, which is the Caesar of the time, he appointed me. That's why. So Rabbi Akiva says, well, the same thing is with Shabbos. The king of all kings wanted that the Yidden, the Jews, should respect the Shabbos. So Turnus Rupus asked Rabbi Akiva, could you prove this to me? That Shabbos there's something unique about Shabbos that that God made it unique in any sense. So he told him, actually, I could prove it to you from physical accounts. He says there's a certain river, tells him Rabbi Akiva, it's called Sambatyon, and this river actually, the way the tanchuma says is that rocks are constantly flowing through it, and on Shabbos it stops. There are different versions about what this river does exactly. It could be just a regular river, but it has a lot of stones to it. The way Rashi learns it, and it just stops flowing on Shabbos. So he says, that's a good proof for me. So Turnus Rupus says to him, what do you mean? He says, are you pushing me away? What is it supposed to be? And one of the commentators explained that basically saying I don't know what this river is. I've never seen it, heard of it. You can't prove anything to me based on that, of this account. Okay. So Rabbi Akiva continues and he says, okay, I'll prove it to you it's a certain type of sorcery. At the time, it seems that sorcery was very prevalent, and these Romans and generals knew about it, and they even used it. And he tells him, he says, there's a certain type of sorcery, which basically they would bring up dead souls onto certain parts of their body. So, and the tractate Sanhedrin discusses this over there in the source we mentioned. So he says on Shabbat, so the rest of the week, you could bring this type of sorcery, you're able to bring these souls to the certain part of your body and speak to them, ask them questions. But on Shabbos, you cannot. So Turnus Rupus, according to the version in Tanchuma, says, okay, let's try it out. So he goes ahead, and actually Rabbi Akiva even suggested, go ahead and do it with your father's soul. So he went and he tried it, and he actually managed to. He couldn't bring his father up on Shabbos because that day was Shabbos. He couldn't do it. So the next day, which was Sunday, he actually managed to. He tried it again, and he managed to bring his father's soul onto the certain part of his body to speak with it. And he told his father. He said, "What? Since you died, all of a sudden you're a Jew now? You're one of the Jews, and now you're keeping Shabbos. Like you couldn't respond to me on Shabbos. You know, you don't answer your phone in hell in Gehenna." So the father tells him, "My son, anybody who does not protect the Shabbos by you guys willingly, when he comes to this world, when he comes to be judged, he is going to have to do it even against his will." So he asked his father, "What do you guys do over there in Gehenna or wherever you guys are?" So the father's soul tells him, he says, "All the week we are being judged. Shabbos we actually get to rest from being judged. What happens?" He says at Moitoi Shabbos, right? At some point, he says when they reach the Sdarim, and the Sdarim, the commentators over here says the Sdarim is the Seder, which is the Uval Tzion that we say after Ma'ariv. So he says at that point, a Malach, which his name is Doima, he comes and he is in charge of all the neshamis, and he comes and he takes us, and takes the neshamis of these people that are there, and he throws them to the ground. Okay. Okay, so that's how it's brought in the medrash tanchuma. Now, in the medrash Masechet Hadibrot, there's a little bit more of a detail, and it's in the Gemara as well, which says that actually, he said the kever of your father will prove it. The kever of your father was another aspect that he said would prove it, and so it's a little of a different version, which is that he said, "Go check out your kever of your father." So during the week, he said, you see that there's smoke coming out of it. That's a sign that he's burning. Right? On Shabbos you won't see smoke, and therefore it's a sign that there's a rest. He's resting. And he actually went and checked, and that's what he saw. So he concludes this to his Serupus. He says, "You were mezalzel, you disgraced, so to speak, my father, and you cursed him, and you embarrassed him." So Rabbi Akiva concludes, and he says like this. He says, "All I did was respond to your question." So, quite an interesting story. Have everybody a great Shabbos. We'll see you in the next one.